meeting of the Westborough Planning Board. As customary in these times, I have to read the governor's order into the record before we can begin. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Westborough Planning Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting may be found on the Town of Westborough's website at town.westborough.ma.us. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Members of the public wishing to participate from their remote location are encouraged to email their questions to planning@town.westborough.ma.us. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. The meeting can be viewed on Verizon Channel 24 and Charter Channel 191, or live streamed online at westboroughtv.org. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so that's done. We have a very short agenda. The first item is a vote to approve the scope of the Otis Street corridor study. I'm going to turn it over to Jim Robbins for just refresh our memory on this, and then we can look at a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim.
Okay. So right now, Kristen is showing the front page of the scope of services dated October 20, 2020. And as you may recall, 2 meetings ago, Robert Michaud, the principal of MDM Transportation Consultants, Inc., gave a presentation with an overview of this entire scope of services. At that time, the board asked some questions. One point was made to include traffic coming from Northborough along Otis Street to the Route 9 Otis Street intersection as part of the scope of services. They made that inclusion. They also added a couple suggestions that I made regarding the MBTA station on Fisher Street. I'm sorry, on Smith Parkway. And at that meeting, we asked the board if they were in favor of this. And I know that Chairman Silverberg polled the entire board and all the members said that they were in favor of it. Since this is a condition of approval of the site plan review for 50 Otis Street, it requires that the board approve the scope. So I'm asking that the planning board this evening formally vote to approve the scope of services. I sent you an email a few minutes ago with a draft vote that you could use. It outlines the name of the study, the date of the study, and who it is that's conducting the work.
Any questions for Jim from the board?
No.
I don't hear any questions. So I will make a motion that the planning board approve the scope of services for the Otis Street corridor study dated October 20th, 2020, as proposed by MDM Transportation Consultants, Inc., as part of the site plan review conditions of approval for 50 Otis Street.
Second that, Mark.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Okay. Hearing none, I'll do a roll call on the vote. All those who approve, or I shouldn't say that. How do you vote on the motion? Jim Ball?
Yes.
Hazel? Hazel, you just need to unmute, okay?
I think she's dropped from the.
No, I can see her.
Was she there?
Yeah, Hazel, you need to unmute.
Oh, there's 7. I'm sorry.
There you go, Hazel.
Yeah, just a second. What am I supposed to unmute for?
How do you vote on the motion?
Oh, I vote for. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Tim Taylor.
Vote to approve. Yes.
Okay, and I also vote to approve. That's 4-0.
This is muted again.
Hazel, did you have another question? Raise your hand if you do. All right, I don't know if she's listening to us, so we're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is a master plan update. Again, I'll turn it over to Jim Robbins.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark. As you recall, we had a small business roundtable, which was conducted by Landwise consultants, who are a sub-consultant of VHB, our master plan consultant. Landwise conducted a survey inviting 135 local businesses to a business roundtable last Wednesday and Thursday. They received 20 respondents. There were 20 small businesses that attended these roundtables. There were 2 groups. Actually, I think there were 4 groups, 2 each day on Wednesday and Thursday. They have compiled the feedback from our local businesses, and they will present that at the next Master Plan Advisory Committee meeting. We're hoping that they'll present some of the ideas to the leadership group when we meet next Wednesday. As you know, this is going to be critical feedback for the Economic Development Subcommittee of the Master Plan, and this was a specific item that was outlined in the scope of services. And just for the board's and the public's information, there were no town department heads, no members of the Master Plan Advisory Committee, or of any elected officials at this business roundtable. That was intended to allow the business community to speak freely. Only the consultants were there to ask questions and record responses. So I look forward to those results. The second thing is we've asked VHB to propose their next meeting of the advisory committee. And they're looking at the first week in December right now. Initially, they had identified December 7th, but that's actually the date that I have surgery on my knee, so I would not be able to participate. So I've asked them to look at the week previous, either Monday or Thursday of the week previous, which would be November 30th or December 3rd.
Sorry, Jim, sorry, I was distracted by something in the house for a second. So I think, does anyone have any questions about the master plan or anything that we feel like we need follow up on? All right, I think that's great. We're all on subcommittees. I know I have a meeting this week to try and finish up our baseline conditions. So.
Yes, and I'm sorry to interrupt there, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
That topic, Kristen sent out an email to all the subcommittees, and all of us are a member of at least one subcommittee. The responses on the baseline study and the subcommittee templates are due on the 18th. So that's a week from tomorrow. Right, okay.
I don't hear anything else. We have some minutes to deal with. Is there anything else on the agenda, Jim, that we need to deal with?
No, I think that next week we'll have a better idea what December will look like for the board.
I'll just choose this moment to update the board that the Community Preservation Act Exploratory Committee is having our first meeting this week on Thursday at 4. We're just getting our feet wet. So, Jim Ball, do you want to take the minutes?
Sure, Mark. Kristen forwarded to us minutes from October 6th and October 20th. Everyone have a chance to review those, and any comments or questions?
I have one comment on the October 20th meetings. On page 3, where it was talking about statistics. Let's see, Mr. McCod commented that pre-COVID, they collected data and they have determined they expect COVID numbers to be 25 to 30% less. Why did they say they expect post-COVID numbers to be 25 to 30% less? I was unclear on that because I thought they were really just talking about the COVID numbers. The post-COVID numbers, I wouldn't have think it would be 25 or 30% less.
That is correct. I can.
Yeah, it should
reword
just be
that.
exclude the post. That's a good catch, Hazel. I missed that. So it
That
should
was
just,
all I saw.
they expect COVID numbers to be 25 or 30%
Right.
less, right?
Yeah,
Rather than post.
exactly.
I actually thought he was making a different point, not to complicate matters, but the point is businesses are all reevaluating their use of space. And I thought his point was that after COVID, the traffic counts could be that much less, but you know, I guess it's all an interpretation. And that would be speculative anyways. We'd have to do a new count.
Right.
I agree with Hazel's point. I thought he was talking about COVID numbers being down. And-
COVID what? COVID infections?
No, the traffic during
Traffic.
COVID, Tim.
COVID.
During
Traffic
the
Yeah.
numbers
COVID
during
period.
COVID.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
I
he
thought
did.
he was actually going to, reference numbers from pre-COVID to try
I
and
see. Okay.
accurate.
We were concerned that doing the study right now wouldn't show what's really happening at those intersections with less traffic because of COVID.
Right.
And he commented he had thankfully already done a study prior.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So I think we need to are there any other changes or anything else on the minutes that requires discussion?
If not, I would make a motion to approve October 6th and October 20 minutes with the minor adjustment mentioned.
Second.
Second. Oh, you beat me.
Right.
All those in favor of the roll call again, Jim Ball,
Yes.
Hazel,
Yes to approve.
Tim,
Yes.
and I'll approve as well. So that's 4-0. If there's no other business, Jim Robbins, anything else?
I think Kristen has her hand up.
Okay, Kristen?
I just wanted to mention, because the last meeting we had, we were thinking, Jim, your surgery was going to take you out of both planning board meetings in December. But now that it's pushed to December 7th, it looks like you're going to be able to attend the first meeting in December.
That's
Is that
correct.
correct? Okay. So we'll only be missing you for that second one until to be determined after it's over.
Correct. And just so the board knows, we are planning to have a meeting to plan for my time out of the office, because knee replacement will probably keep me out of the office 5 weeks. I can still work from home remotely. The first 2 weeks I probably won't be, but after that I should be able to work from home anyway. However, we're going to have a planning meeting, it looks like on the 20th, to discuss what the burden will be on the board and the other departments and boards that I serve, like the Design Review Board and the Master Plan Advisory Committee, so that we can assign workload to anticipated projects. Unfortunately, because of COVID, right now we don't have a lot of new proposals in front of us. We do have several ongoing residential projects which need review and some form of management, I'll just leave it that way, on a day-to-day basis. And we are going to decide how we're going to deal with that. The new Economic Development Department, as you know, which was approved at town meeting on Saturday, thank you for that, and thank you for the board's support, is made up of planning, building, conservation. So we will have adequate staff to cover the workload of projects. But fortunately, I planned this for the holiday time, knowing that's a slow time usually anyway. And I think this year it will be particularly slow. So hopefully this time away won't cause a burden on the projects. We had a couple project meetings today that are not going to be presented until January. So that's a good thing as well.
All right, so Jim, I'm sure we're all rooting for your surgery to go well, but we'll all see you many times before then. So why don't we move to adjourn? I'll make a motion to adjourn unless there's other business.
Second that, Mark.
All those in favor?
Yes.
I think that's 4-0. Everyone have a nice night, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Safe
Thank you,
travels, Jim.
everyone. Have a good
Have a
night.
safe trip, Jim.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a safe trip.
Luck.
Safe trip, Jim. Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay.